Okay, so we thought we might explain the differences between Kranji, Hong Kong, and even Australia. We do sort of touch on it a little bit in the members booklet, but you'll give them more of an insight now into like the last Kranji sheet from Saturday.
Okay, so with the Singapore, it is a completely different beast to the Hong Kong stuff. The Hong Kong horses are obviously, you know, they're better quality. You know, I always say that Singapore is just a poor man's version of Hong Kong, and it really is. Some of the quality of horses there are exceptionally poor. All right, like, and when I say exceptionally poor, they are exceptionally poor. Now, the thing with Singapore, what you've got to focus on with Singapore is the markets. They are the biggest indicators of what's going on over there. And combine the markets with the sheets, you need to be, you know, completely switched on. Plungers do work there. When a horse gets backed in from 20 to 1 into 10 to 1, a lot of the times they win. It's not ideal that they are on the sheets, and this is where I say why you have to bet early in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is one of the few places that I would say please bet early, obviously with New Zealand. Now, we had a scenario here on Saturday where we had to drop a runner and then include a runner because we had the winner. Actually, I don't think we had to drop that first winner. We didn't get it because for several reasons. We had the 1, the 3. The 3 was actually the sub runner, and then we had the 8, the 9, and the 12. Now, as I discussed with the Hong Kong stuff, we've got 5. We've actually got 4 picks with 1 emergency, and that's where I start looking at the race and going, okay, is it a good betting race? So we have a scenario here where we've got to make a call that is you know, is this a betting race? Now, as far as I was concerned, the pot was a good betting race. There was only a few runners that bothered me, and that was obviously the winner. But, you know, that's why I was the problem with the winner was I just wanted more price for it. As you can see here, I had it rated at $7.20, and at no point, you know, it hit $5. It was $7.50 at one point, okay, but I wasn't prepared to take it on. I mean, to back it. So we had the 1, which we got its price. We had the 8, which we got its price. We got the 9, which we got its price. And we got the 12, which we got its price. Okay, again, guys, you know, when we have a scenario like this and we only got 1 runner that we have to worry about, then it's a betting race. Unfortunately, the runner that beat us was the sub runner. The runner that I thought that we needed to worry about did beat us. But again, it comes down to price. Now, again, if you had shopped, there was price for it, but it was, you know, they come in and out. Like, the movements on these runners over there is really, it's odd. This is the international markets. You need to be switched on. Now, we go to race 2. Okay. Now, have a look at this. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got another scenario where we've got basically 4 picks and we've got an emergency runner. Now, this particular race, again, we had the winner, okay, but we didn't bet. There was several reasons why we didn't bet. Okay, look at Mr. Showman. Mr. Showman was backed in. He was an emergency runner, given. That's fine. Now, we had number 2, which was Super Pins, whatever it was. Now, the problem with that particular runner was I wanted $5.90. Forget about what you're seeing right at the end. Okay, that's late. We've got to make a decision. Okay, that's 4 or 5 minutes out in order for, look at that, at 15:24 with 4 minutes to go, that thing was still $5. So there was a concern there with me. Forget about these $8. You're seeing that right at the death. You know, it's not something that I'm looking at. I don't care what they finish up at. I have to make a decision 2 or 3 minutes out from race. And that was one of the decisions I said, well, I need to pass on the race. I will not pass on the race. I didn't want to have a bet at it just yet. So we looked at number 7. We definitely got price. And then we looked at number 13, which was a late scratching. Actually, now that I'm looking at the race, that's what threw me out. Okay, the fact that number 13 was a late scratching. So I decided to pass on the race because my concern was this one. The money was there for it. I had it as a sub runner. I thought I don't really want to be taking on this one. Number 8 never really touched price until extremely late, so I let the race go. Bad luck, we got the winner. All right, so then we go to race 3. We have another scenario here where we have a low pot race, but have a look what happened here, and this is important. So you got to remember, read your notes. These runs on top. Careful here. The pot is 65%, so we need to be super price sensitive. 2 is the sub runner. Okay, so we had the 2 as the sub runner. We had now this thing blew out. Then we had the 3, Thomas Delago. Okay, now that thing was a massive. We run at 655. Okay, and look at that. We had 650, $7. It was for me across the board. There was the price there for it, and I was happy because there was $7. Look at the times. Okay, there was $7 across the board at the right times that I wanted to have a bet. So I was happy to accept the 655, and then we had the 7. Okay, which was Heart of Courage. That definitely hit minimum rated price. Then we had Good Luck Charm. Have a look what Good Luck Charm's price was. Okay, now, there you go. 450. Forget about what it finished at the end. I'm not worried about that, but we had it rated at 3, and it was the runner that I wanted. That was the thing. I thought this thing could win. It had the best rating. You guys don't see what I'm seeing on the numbers, and it's just something that happens during the, I'm looking at these numbers and going, this thing is just unbelievably well rated. The fact that I had it at 388 is magnificent. Now, as you could see here, look at the time lines, look at the prices that were available, 4 or 5 minutes. There was 420, 450 with some of these corporate bookmakers. But I was happy to accept that $4. You can see across here. You got to remember, I'm making a call 5 minutes out to give you guys enough time. And then what happened was when I did send it out, that thing just plummeted and it won. So that's where I make a decision. Even though it's a low pot, I also look at the numbers that I've got in my hand. And I looked at the 2 and I thought, you were a blower, okay, like at a massive blow. Look at that, 275 out to 550. Sometimes that works in our advantage. That was a genuine blower. Because have a look at Betfair. All right, it just completely. They did not want this runner. End of discussion. The big query was the 5. They definitely wanted the 5. Again, you could see I make a call. Now that the 5 was backed in from 850 into 320. So you can see I make a call based on the market read as well. Now my market read was saying that they still want the 8. They definitely wanted the 4. They didn't want the 2. It was a bet race because we got well overpriced on a lot of our runners. Okay, and that's why that was a bet race. If this thing had dipped below $293, I was dropping the race. Trust me on that one. Because then I had to take on the 2, the 5, and the 8. So, again, it's that 50-50 call that we get right, and we got this one right. Okay, so we go to race 5. It was a pass race. The reason why it was, race 4. Okay, it was a pass race. It's automatic pass race because look at the pot. That when you see a pot that late, again, sometimes I don't press pass because I'm doing all these sheets and it's just a button that I don't think. But when I say, it's an automatic pass, it's an automatic pass. It's not even discuss it. All right, that pot's too low. I don't even know what won the race. I think, oh, that's right, the favourite won the race. So, did we have it? Yeah, we had it. We had it rated at 330. Never hit price, so it was just let's not even talk about it. Okay, then we quickly go to race 5. All right, and this we had a nice fill up here. Okay, we had official. Now, we'll have a quick look at the race. Number 2, okay, what was the pot? 131%. That's the critical thing for me. It's 131%. We had the 2 as a sub runner, so it was a concern. Then we had 1. Basically, we got 4 picks. We got the 5, the 8. The 9 and the 12. So the 2 was a concern, but I saw it as a blower. All right, now look at the 5, the winner. Now we wanted 533. Have a look at the time frame when I'm looking at it. Now there was $6, 650, perfect. You've got you got 131% pot. But as I said, forget about what you're seeing right at the death. That all that means is that it's that when we backed it, they saw the same thing as me, and then they smashed it in. All right, so there was top price for that. All right, was 4 or 5 minutes out, was 650, and that's the markets in Singapore. You see how quickly they work. And guys, there are some smart guys following these sheets, and I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but I'm one of the smart guys because I do bet early on these runners. I know what I'm working with. I know the numbers that I'm looking at. I'm very intimate with the numbers. So as you can see, the moment I send the bet out, okay, you've got to be fast because you've got a horse that's now 650, and it was, 4 or 5 minutes out, gone in from 650 to 420. All right, so and I mean that's a super duper price for a horse that we've got it rated at 530. We're getting $657. That's magnificent, especially with that pot. We had the 8. We had it we got minimum rated price. We had the 9. Okay, we were well over price, and it was a happy days. It was, and then we had the 12 or whatever it was. No, sorry, the River Happiness, whatever it was. I don't know where that is actually. That could have been the wrong one. What happens in Singapore as well? They change the names of horses. So, I might have it on my sheet as River Happiness, but again, we just look at back in the number. We had number 12. So that's another race again where we got it right. It was a beautiful pot. I was only really concerned about one horse, the 2. It was a blower. It's perfect. It's a perfect scenario for us, and that's when we got to bet, and that's when we have to bet. When we got this scenario where we only have to really beat one runner. All right. Now the one runner was on the sheet, but then when I watch it, if that thing had been backed in heavily, I'd be going, okay, well, we need to look at it. But it didn't. It was a complete big blower. The one that they really wanted was the winner. It came late, and that's what happens in Singapore. As you can see, look at this, 650. Look at this sports bet, 650. It's not showing up, but yeah, you can see top sport. Look at that, 650. All got tumbled in. And when I sent out the message, I think it was 3 or 4 minutes out. Sometimes I don't have time to send out a message. I don't have time because I've got to look at these markets and see what they're doing. Sometimes I just forget. It's literally a moment of just, did I send out that message? I mean, I'm looking at 3 different screens here, and I've got to make a call that's got to be in line with when you need to bet. Okay, so we look at race 6. This was a pass race because we have a look at the race itself. It was a 94% pot race. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, the 6. Okay, now what happened with this particular race was that's all they wanted. Look at that, 330, 380 into 230. That's Singapore. What you're seeing is normal. I need everybody to have a look at this. Plunges in Singapore pay off. As you can see, looked at the last 3 races, and all we've seen is these big runners that have been backed, and they just win. They bet late there, and sometimes they bet early. But when these big plunges pay off, when they start going, they start going, and they win. And you could see here why I didn't bet in the race. Number 2. 340, but look at that. I mean, what price was it? It 320. It never hit it. It didn't remotely come near our price. So we have to drop it. Then we look at Travis, which was that hit price. And then we look at number 6. Obviously, we had it as an emergency. And then we looked at the 8. That was well over. And then we looked at the 11. All right. Now, again, I have to make the decision. Do I want to be taken on a runner that's been backed in from 5 to 1 into 250? Absolutely, categorically no. Plus the 2. So I could there was nothing to do here. We couldn't get price on the 2. If we dropped the 2, we needed to add the emergency, which we couldn't get price on. So we were left with basically taking on the 2 and the 6, and I didn't want to do it. So it was the correct call to pass. All right, and that's what happens when you're in this mood. You need to be watching what these markets are doing. Now we look at race 7. Okay, and now we had a situation here where we had a look at the pot. It was 135% pot. All right, it's exactly what we're after. All right, now we had the 1, which we got. 1 was a scratching, so that was a late scratching. We had the 5. Okay, which we got, we wanted 833, well over minimum rated price. As you can see, it's a blower, and that's a fine. And then we had Beer Garden, which was the 8, that was well over price. And then we had the 9. Now have a look at the 9. Okay, look at that, 750. Look how quickly they go off on them. All right, look how quickly they go off on them. Bang! And I knew we had the bets. Now again, okay, we had a scenario here where I had to drop the price. Okay, so it was 655. We had to drop the price. I remember saying we had to drop the price, and still it just kept tumbling. All right, and luckily we got its price. But as you can see here, look at that. Look how fast the markets work. Now I don't know. It could be they're working off the sheets. I don't know. Or it could be that they're looking at the same data as I am, and they're pinpointing these runners. But this is my point. We just need to be very, very fast with this stuff. You can't have a scenario where you're going to miss out. Now, I have the luxury of sitting here most days looking at this stuff. Okay, and that's why when I did send out the message for that, I dropped and even dropping the runner's price, we were still in a decent pot, because I like the race. I dropped a few runners, notably he's 6 and 11. We need to be careful. Now, when I looked at the 6, I thought, well, you're a big blower. Well, you're not a massive blower, but you're my only danger, because I know that this jockey's a good jockey over there. This thing had some reasonable numbers, but not enough to concern me. Now, the 11, I did not see its numbers. You know, I did not see why it was remotely that price. Okay, so that's the thing. I'm looking at numbers that you guys will never have obviously the luxury of looking at. And then I need to make a call. Why are you $3? Now, what I do then is I go into my database and I look at its runs, and I need to see why you are that price. If I can't see it, trust me, guys, I'm taking it on. And again, it's a perfect scenario. Now, we had movement. Now, I didn't. If this thing had dipped further, all right, I was probably going to pull out of the race. But because luckily I came in, and when I came in and we sent out the messages, again, sometimes the messages get sent out. Like, I try to be as quick as possible, all right, because you can look at this. I mean, you're looking at look how fast this thing's dropped. It's gone from 650 at 1742, okay, and within 10 minutes, it's gone from 650 into $4. It's fast. It's so fast. So that's why I say look early. Look at this thing here. $6.50, $5. There was still $6 around for this thing with 7 minutes out with best bookies. You know, you need to shop around. The TAB didn't have it at a big price, but then you're looking at, you know, these lower bookmakers here. You got $6.50. You know, 10, 15 minutes out. That's what I'm saying to you. Now, when you've got a pot that big and you start seeing these things tumble, sometimes take a little bit of a hit. I'm not telling you to take a massive hit, but take a bit of a hit. You know, you're allowed. You can make movement on because of the pot, but make sure all the other runners on the sheet, okay, are still. And you remember, we also had one scratching, which was the 1, and that's why we had to drop the price, because you got to remember that one's got a 7.4% chance of winning. So you got to obviously sort out the prices according to that, and that was why I did take a sort of a small hit on this runner as well. We still had room to move. It was a fairly decent sized pot. We had one runner that was scratched at. You know, I thought it was a good chance. It was a $13 chance. It got scratched. Happy days, we won. You know, race by race, members, race by race. These decisions are made fast. They're not made just, you know, and that's why the service that we're offering here at Winning Edge is that we're giving you a hands-on, race by race, a detailed analysis of what's going on. It's the markets that kill me, and that will kill most people. They don't have no understanding of the markets. And I'm going to go in time and I'm going to give you an understanding of the markets. But I don't want to give you too much information. Otherwise, it's going to be just too much for you all to cope with. Okay, now we go to race 8. And this was like the fill-up of all fill-ups. And this is exactly the scenario that we're after. Okay, like these are the scenarios that I wait for all the time. All right, now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 picks. All right, so let's have a quick look at this one. All right, now the one we had it rated at, where was it? It was rated at 690, and you can see here, okay, it was back, like it was 750, but look how fast this thing dropped. It's gone from 750 into 480, but price was there 4 or 5 minutes out. Look at that. You could see it there. There's green, like it's just, so we had to back it. We didn't have any choice in the matter with this race. Okay. And then we had the 2, which we had it rated at 850. Now you could say, oh, that's a massive blower. You know, I don't care it rated. Look at that pot. This was a beautiful play race for us. And when I say a beautiful play race, everything's working in our favour now. We've backed the 1, we've backed the 2, we've got the 4 here. What price was the 4? Again, another one where look at the price of it. Okay, it's gone $7. Look at this. Look how fast they just move so fast. And we had the pot to play with, so we could have dropped it by 50 cents. You know, and that's fine. You know, look at this. Look how far. Look at that. 10 minutes out. There was price. There was argument here to if you want to drop it. But I didn't drop it because I took this thing early. All right, I took it with about 7 minutes to go. You know, I wanted to back it. The price was there, $6, $6, $6.50. It was all across the board. So I just said, all right, I'm going to back it because I didn't want to drop it. Now the only concern that I have was the sub runner. All right, now the sub runner itself, I remember looking at it and going to myself, yeah, you're a concern, but the markets right at the end sort of went off on it. But you know, sometimes they go off on them. That's the call that I make, and that's why it was a bet race. We only had to beat the 5, in my opinion. Oh, sorry, and the 6. The 6 was a concern, as I said, both the 6 and the 13. The 13 was obviously scratched, okay. And there's your 6 there, and it was a concern. But look at that. That was actually a concern for me. It really was, because this thing, they wanted this thing. You know, they did. When I see $3.84 across the board and it hasn't really budged, all right, that's not a blower in my opinion. That's still very much a horse wanted in the markets. All right, so that wasn't a blower. I don't think it was a blower, despite the fact that it didn't win. In my eyes, they're the dangerous. So we had the 5 and the 6, but I thought 104% pot. Let's play. Let's rock and roll. And it was like one of the major fill-ups. Look at that. $26. We had this thing rated at $8.50. Have a look what Betfair paid. Have a look at that, $41.40. Now, for me, this is what I record off. And, you know, we can record Best SP. I've always gone to the thing that if people don't have Betfair, it's fair to say, let's just work off what the corporate bookmaker. So, you know, there's $26, $23. I'm happy to record the $26. I don't care. All right, but you know, again, you're seeing the power of the database here. All right, and look at the pot. That's the critical thing always. All right, there's room, and also look at how many selections I've got and how many runners we're dropping, and then look at the prices on the runners that went. Like when you start seeing the 6 and the 13, well, the 13 was scratched, but when you start seeing that these things are in the market, you need to make sure that you've got prices on your runners. You need to make sure that you're covered. Because, again, all we had to do, in my opinion, in this race was now beat only 2 runners. And the 5 and the 6, and that's it. And I thought, no, we're going to bet, and let's happy days. Some days I might pass, because I'll see things with this 6 that I'm like, I don't want to take this thing on. You know, I don't want to do that. I don't need to take it on. And that's why you'll see some days I might take them on, and some days I don't take them on. And this particular day I took them on, and we've won. You know, and it was a massive fill up of this particular race. All right, now race 9 was pretty sure it was a pass race. Well, you know, you can see why it was a pass race. Let's not even discuss it. We didn't even have the winner anyway, so let's just move on to the next race. Now, race 10. We look at race 10. Now, again, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 with one what do you call it? Everything was fine to have a bet in the race. We got the 1, we got its price. We got the 3, we got its price. The 4 was a sub runner. That was the danger, right? That was the danger for me. It didn't win. The 7, and we got its price, and the 10. Now, again, it's a bet race. Something come out and won. You know, it happens. That's horse racing. There was no reason why not to bet in that race. The only thing, as I said, all we had to do there was beat the 4. All right, now we don't back runners at those prices, and it was, you know, I had it rated at $3.80, and that didn't even win anyway. So for me, when I look at the race, you know, these runners on top, another very difficult race. Drop the 4, who's a concern, so runner is a sub runner. The pot was the reason why we bet. All our runners had matched. I actually thought the 1 was in this. You know, I thought the 1 could win this race. To be honest, I was quite a little bit shocked that the 1 didn't win, but it happens, and that's racing. And we go on to race 11, and again we got a super duper pot. But look at how many selections: 1, 2, 3, 4. So what happened here was these meetings on this meeting was so difficult. All right, now when I keep saying the median is difficult, I don't mean, what I mean by that is that the numbers sometimes can, when you've got races where you've got 4 and then a sub runner, we're starting to bordering on, this is becoming too many picks in a race. You don't want a meeting where you've got so many selections. It's not good, because then you have to sit here and you've got to, which ones am I going to add? Which ones am I not going to add? And you've got to make that human call. What I try to do, or I keep saying this, you need to take the human call out of it, because human call is what makes you lose. Because you now you're looking at emotion, and you're looking at, which runner do I keep? Which runner do I not keep? And, it's all about the data. It's always about the data. I have a thing that I say, I do not have an opinion. I don't want an opinion. Opinion will send you broke in horse racing. Trust me on that, guys. I know. I used to have an opinion. I used to think I was the greatest horse analyst. Now I don't have an opinion anymore. I just follow the data. Now the data in this particular race told me it was going to be a wide race. Now we had the 3, okay, and that was we got its price. I know that. Look, I mean, the thing is, this thing was backed in. It was smashed in. Look at that. It was $11. Forget about what you've seen at the end. I keep saying that, but I did see $11, and it was a bet. Look at that, $11, and that was like 10, 12 minutes out. So I saw that, and I thought, I'm going to back this. I'm going to go in early on this. Even at, I would have, this particular runner, okay, I had it rated at 10.10. Now I got $9, $10, and that's fine because of the pot. The pot's 172%. When you see a horse that you've got it rated at 9.90 or whatever it is, and that's the pot there. If you can drop it $1, that's fine. As long as the other runners are not getting, as long as your main runner, like if you see a horse at 377 and it's now 260, well, you don't want to be taking anything lower than that. You just drop those runners. Anyway, lo and behold, the 6 was a sub runner anyway. So then we had the 7, which was, we got second to that. Look at its price, and we had the 9. That was well overpriced, and then we had the 12. Okay, it was well overpriced. Now what happened here? This was a concern. This runner, I saw it. It was being backed. Have a look at it. They backed it in from 7-1 into 550. We got second. We had the 15-1 shot. But all in all, the sheet itself was unbelievable. We won some really nice races. We passed into nice races, and that's the thing. You got to find the medium. You can see that I passed on the right races and we bet on the right races, and that's all you have to worry about. That you're in on the right races and not betting on the wrong races, because ultimately you cannot win. It's near enough impossible to win on every race. All right, and the decisions that I make are based on the sheet and then the markets. When I get asked, you don't trust your numbers, that's an absurd comment. Of course I trust the numbers, but your numbers, if we were to sit here and just back the numbers and ignore the markets, we'd be broke. It doesn't work like that. I wish it did. Okay, I trust my numbers. The numbers that are on the sheet for a reason, because I've dissected the race itself and I've thought these are the runners that I think can win the race. And then obviously what we're trying to achieve here, because my database is not like any other database. My database is trying to find not the favourites. It does the opposite of what other databases do. It picks out the favourite, and then it tells me, can you beat it? Yes or no? And then I have to do the research and I have to do the analysis around it. And the analysis tells me, bet. This thing can be beaten. All right? Favourites win, members. We're going to get punished. I make no secret of that. I've never ever shied away from that. All right? We are after the 67% of favourites that don't win. All right, now you can see here, this was a great betting sheet for everybody to understand, and we won a fair amount of units because we got a really big fill up. And, I want everybody to start thinking the way I'm thinking. You're never going to think the way I think. And it's just like I don't think the way someone else thinks, or, all these other analysts. But you need to understand what you're looking at up against what the markets are telling you. That this is a critical part of the thing that we do. The markets are extremely critical. You cannot ignore them, and you need to know what you're looking at with the markets, and that's the critical thing. I have 20 years of looking at the markets that most people don't understand. So I get a lot of questions. Can you teach me about the markets? Well, do you have 6 months? It's not as easy as just ringing you up or sending you an email. There's a lot of things, because scenarios change all the time, race by race. What works in race 4 with the markets might not work with race 5. What might work in race 3 might not work in race 7. You know, you just need to look at the signs. The signs are not always correct. You know, I can look at a race and go, oh, this is a definite blower, this thing won't win, and it comes out and wins. Well, then on the flip side, I can say, geez, they're really wanting this runner. They want this runner, and it doesn't win. So there are the signs that are there that I look for. You know, again, I don't emphasise. A lot of people emphasise on Betfair. Personally, all right, I've got nothing against Betfair. Betfair is not my indicator. These bastards are my indicator. What these guys are doing with each other. Don't forget, these people are trading with each other. These guys are trading with the traders at Ned's Sport. They're all trying to extract as much money out of each other because they're all trying to cover their books, and that's what it's all about. They're all trying to win your money, and the only way they're playing with your money to bet and to cover their books. That's what it's all about. It's all about making money. You think they're sitting there and they got an opinion about what's going to win race 11? They couldn't give a rat's ringhole what wins race 11. What they care about is the same thing that I care about. How much money are we making? That's all that this is all about. You know, and the mindset for you guys when you start following me is that's what I'm going to start drilling into you. It's about making money. I'm not interested in winning the race. I'm interested in making money off the race. You know, soon I'm going to start doing talks about place betting and because you can make money off place betting because we do get a high volume of big price winners. You know, but I will start talking into detail about that a little bit later. Not now. I don't want to have too much information given to you all in one hit. All right. I hope these talks are doing some good, and I hope these talks are getting through to everybody. You know, mainly, you know, this is a tough game. We're not in an easy business that we're in here. So it's a fine line between winning and losing. All right. Thank you.